Okay, I'm back again. So now we're going to review the epic Sergio Busquets. I believe this is the 2010-2011 season of Sergio Busquets. This is when he just like officially made himself as this proper starting anchorman for Barcelona at the time. It's when he solidified his position. Now, I'm gonna say off the bat, I'm just gonna say this card, it's mixed thoughts, and I'll explain what I mean by this. But first, again, I'll go into the card. So this card is an Anchorman. He is 189 centimeters, and he has 35 levels, and he has Regista as the booster skill, which is a boost to tight possession, low pass, defensive awareness, and tackling. And then the other boost I've given him is Hard Worker, which boosts acceleration, aggression, physical contact, and stamina. Obviously, you could go with, I believe, Shutdown, I think, which gives him speed as a booster. He has High Weak Foot. I've trained him as a centre back. And these are the skills I've given him. I've given him weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, gamesmanship, aerial superiority, and the last skill I want to add to him is fighting spirit, but I do not have the skill to add onto him. Yeah, the rest of the skills, I don't think there's many skills I would have given him. You could give him acrobatic clearance, but I think as an Anchorman, he's always positioned in a way that you don't need acrobatic clearance. So I'd only use acrobatic clearance if I was going to use him in centre back, or if he was a destroyer, then I'd probably use acrobatic clearance. But Anchormen tend to sit between defenders. Now, as I played 19 games with him and I've got 2 assists, so I've used him for a decent amount of games. But I will say this card is a combination of an Anchorman slash orchestrator slash destroyer. And what I mean by this is this card without, for instance, man mark and track back is like he does 3 jobs in one. There are certain situations where he is not sitting between the 2 CBs, and there are situations where my fullback might push up and he'd cover the position of the fullback. So what I would say is this Sergio Busquets role, without any instructions, without putting anchoring or anything, if you leave him default, is defensively. I've noticed he tends to fill in the gap created by a defender. For instance, if you have an attacking fullback, he will cover the attacking fullback. Or if Carlos Puyol pushes out of position or anyone else pushes out of position defensively, he will fill in that gap. There are certain points where I see him in centre back to help out. I see him in fullback to help out. And sometimes I even see him as wide centre mids to help out. So I will say, if you are someone who doesn't manually defend, which what I mean by this is you're not selecting Busquets before the ball gets to your half of the pitch, I'd suggest using man marking as a skill and track back as a skill to let AI help you defensively. I would recommend those 2 skills. But if you're someone like me who tends to always select DM first to kind of slow down the counter attack in time, and just to give your other defenders enough time to reset, then you should be fine without track back and man marking. But like I said, if you do realize that you don't have time to select your DMF, or you you're not really good at selecting your DMF and knowing when to use him and when not to use him, then I suggest putting man marking and track back on him. Now, I will say I've tried this Busquets with pace, with speed. I've tried him with like really high tackling, really high defensive engagement. I've tried him with 90 aggression, 91 aggression. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't make a difference. But I have not tried him with those high stats with man marking and track back, so I do not know. But I will say it doesn't matter how many points you put in defensive awareness, defensive engagement, speed, and Yeah. But I will tell you the stats that matter, which I've noticed with this card, is the tight possession, ball control, low pass, lofted pass, physical contact, and the balance. I've noticed those stats. I think, and if you look at the stats I've just mentioned, those are the stats that the booster has been applied to. As you can see, tight possession, low pass, physical contact, and obviously acceleration, balance. They go hand in hand because you can only boost acceleration with balance. So those are the skills I've noticed. With this card, I've noticed on the ball he does have a cut behind and turn unique animation. So I have noticed that. I'd say I know some people don't put physical contact on his Busquets, but I'd highly recommend putting physical contact on Busquets. Just at least like 8 points if you can, or six or 8 points, because this card gets put under pressure so much. And I think I've only gone with 84 contact because I am going to put fighting spirit, which will help him when he's under pressure. So that should be better. But I say physical contact is a must on this card. Because again, getting pressed by Hullet and other players is not nice with this card. I will say that. So I do recommend some physical contact, because again, in this game, when you initiate like the little bump animation, or when there's contact between two players, the game tends to favor the guy with more contact and obviously more balance. So yeah, I definitely recommend physical contact on this build. As I mentioned before, in terms of defending, it didn't matter how many points I put in this Busquets. If you do not have man marking or track back, and you manually select your player yourself, then it should be fine. I think 8 points in defending is more than enough, because it didn't matter how many points I put in, he would still not be in the middle sometimes. So I did notice that. The passing, I went obviously. I will explain why I put so many points in my play in passing and stuff. Obviously, you don't need that much passing. You could obviously go into speed. You could take the passing down and put it into speed. So you could go, for instance, 4 passing, and then you can go 10, or you can go 3 passing. You can do this. You could do this, so then you get 80 speed, 93 low pass, and 80 speed. So again, it's up to your personal preference. But again, I have tried like with speed, without speed. I've tried passing, no passing. So it doesn't matter how much speed I give him. So if you want to look pretty and have as many green stats as you want, you can go this. But like I said, I don't really care about that right now. So I just put as much as I can into passing and so on. You can. I did try this. This did help a bit. You can put 4 points into. You can put 4 points into shooting, and to get the curve to a 75. I did notice 75 curl did help a bit with some of the passes, and there were certain situations where like he was in positions to shoot, and I did feel like if he did have a bit more shooting, it could have been more lethal. But again, personal preference. But for me, I felt like the passing option, orchestrated type DMF was the best solution for him. Now, he does have the visionary pass skill, and what this does is it makes it easier for the person receiving the ball from a Busquets pass to be more comfortable on the ball, so you can play a through pass across. That's why I've given him pinpoint crossing as well, actually, because pinpoint crossing goes hand in hand with the visionary pass. So I could decide to whip it from the edge of the box to a striker, to a midfielder, and they should be able to control the ball comfortably. So that's why I've gone with pinpoint crossing, and obviously weighted pass. I do feel like weighted pass was a wasted skill, just because of how quickly a defender, for instance, if you switch the ball from a wing to another wing, how quickly the defender is to recover and press your winger when we're trying to head the ball. So I did feel like weighted pass is not really necessary right now in terms of like in the air lofted passes. I did notice that. But right, so with Busquets, as you can see, again, clearly not sitting between the two centre backs. He is just in midfield. As you can see, sometimes he drifts out wide to go in between the fullback and the centre back more than this between the two CBs. I did notice that quite a lot. I can see I'm manually selecting Busquets, and then now you can see me trying to cut the passing lane off, and we miss, and we're able to counter from this. But I'll just go back just a bit just to explain to you why this Busquets is giving me mixed signals. Now, do you see how I manually select Busquets here? Because initially he was going to go wide as much as possible towards the left back. I was going to be pulled out out of position. I didn't want that. That's why I manually selected him to get him back into position in between kind of the left back and Puyol, the left centre back, to kind of just sit within that triangle. That's what I did. And then this is the problem I had with this Busquets is there were certain situations here where I felt like he should intercept, and believe me, I've tried high defensive stats. It didn't make a difference. Sometimes it just felt like he was long, but not like his legs weren't long enough or his body wasn't positioned enough to make interception. And then this is what I like about Busquets. You see how this is the his new, like, he has a new like chop turn animation. I don't know if you're gonna see it here. So I did a fake shot, which is a cut behind and turn, and he has like a little chop animation there to, like, just to help build up and create an attack. And we do score from this. I will make it. I don't know if you guys want me to make a tutorial on how I do my blitz curlers, because most of them always go in. I don't really have problems scoring them. But yeah, so again, just gonna quickly look at his positioning. You see, I leave him, and then do you see how wide he drifts? He's trying to cover the gap left by vGianniii, which is my right centre mid. So he tends to drift from a central area to a wide area. I have noticed this a lot. And then you can see quickly, while I selected Van Dijk, he was gonna cover Van Dijk, which is now gonna take the place of Van Dijk. So he was gonna drift from DMF to centre back. But because I quickly switched back to Busquets, he's in the right area at that time. So back to my point of the Busquets card, I have noticed he tends to fill the gaps left in midfield or in defense. So that's why I cannot kind of call him an anchor man. It feels like he just plays anywhere. So if, for instance, if my Van Dijk was here somewhere, then Busquets would like fill in this gap. I have noticed that from time to time. Or if, for instance, I don't know, let's say Iniesta was out here and Jordi Alba was here, then Busquets would find himself situations here. Now this is where I believe the other players in the team, maybe a box-to-box might come in handy, because if Busquets drops out of position, maybe the box-to-box would cover the position. So I think the game obviously needs work on that in terms of who should cover who in certain positions. But it does seem that when a defender is out of position, the actual role of Busquets seems to work, but the rest of the team doesn't. So if a defender is out of position, Busquets will cover, but who covers Busquets is the question I think the game is having right now. So it's kind of like, that's why I said it's a 50-50, because defensively Busquets will help you cover, whereas sometimes you might not want that. So you could go for the instruction of just anchoring. So you could anchor it on Busquets to stop him from going side to side, but he will still help out defensively if like, for instance, if Van Dijk is out of the way, then Busquets will still drop back. But obviously vertically should be fine. So you can put anchoring to kind of stop that, but I will suggest, if you cannot, or if you do not want to manually select your defender, your DMF, then you can put man marking on him, and track back should help as well. But if you're fine with the fluidity of Busquets offers you, then you can just leave him as is and probably put anchoring if you want. But I'm fine with just having him off, like no instruction. It's okay. I have also noticed that if you have two defensive fullbacks, Busquets tends to sit where he's needed, so that should be fine. But obviously, if you use offensive fullbacks, he will cover the gap left by the fullback if needed. So I'm fine with that either way. So you can also, to stop him from going forward, you can drop the dexterity all the way down. You can put 4 points in dexterity. Me personally, I'd probably go even lower. I might even put none in dexterity if I'm being real, and then maybe put the rest in whatever you wanted. You can put in aerial, and then you can put in lower body, and then you can put the last two in dexterity. You could do this as well to get the attack awareness below 70, but obviously with the form it would still go up. But yeah, I'm fine with him going forward, but I'd say if you do make him go forward, you might want to get the shooting up a bit to help. But yeah, overall, it's a good card. I'd say if you need someone to soak up the pressure, I'd go with Busquets. But obviously, the standard Vieira's, the Rijkaards, and so on are obviously the go-to. But I think with man marking and track back as a skill, with fighting spirit, aerial superiority, and then probably gamesmanship if you want, I think those 5 skills would be obviously the ultimate skill list I'd go for. But obviously, my Busquets is more of an attacking Busquets. So yeah, if you're a defensively minded player, I'd suggest again these 5 skills: aerial, track back, man marking, gamesmanship, and fighting spirit. Those are the 5 skills I'd recommend. But yeah, overall, this card I give him a solid 7 out of 10, because defensively he's okay, but attacking he's pretty good. Obviously, with the visionary pass as a skill, plus the pinpoint cross and weighted pass or through balls, it does make it easier to get assists. As you can see, I've got 2 assists in 19 games with him. Whereas if I look at, for instance, another anchorman, probably like Rodri, I believe Rodri, I've got 28 assists, which is fine. Oh yeah, here we go, Rijkaard. I haven't played that many games with Rijkaard. Rijkaard has 8 assists in 200 games, whereas Busquets already has 2 assists in just 19 games. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.